Hey everybody, it's Daniel and welcome to Cádiz, or as apparently we say it in English, Cádiz. I had never heard this. Actually, I knew very little about Cádiz until about 2 hours ago. No, less. 1 hour ago. I was just at home in Madrid a few days ago thinking I need to leave town. I looked at the map, I found something I had never seen before. I bought the ticket, and here we are in Cádiz, and it's great. I have learned a lot this morning on Wikipedia about the history of Cádiz. For example, did you know that this is the oldest city in Western Europe? It was originally populated by the Phoenicians in 1104 BC, which is more than 3,000 years ago. So it's an old place. Of course, there's not much left from the Phoenicians at this point. It was also occupied by the Romans, the Moors, the Visigoths, possibly the Byzantines, lots and lots of different people. Maybe not the Visigoths. The Byzantines, at least, whoever the Byzantines were. Once again, I'm not a historian, so do not use this as, part of your doctoral thesis. But yeah, it's been here for more than 3,000 years. It was considered to be the far west, the Wild West of the Roman Empire at one point. There's a line from the Roman poet Juvenal talking about everything between Cádiz and the Ganges. This was the far, far west of what they knew from the world, and the Ganges in India was the far east. So here we are. We're gonna see some stuff around the city. It's gonna be great. Okay, so as I was saying before, a couple of hours ago, I knew virtually nothing about Cádiz. And, well, let me tell you what I did know. Number one, I knew that Lord Byron came here a couple hundred years ago. Lord Byron was an English romantic poet. He was here, I think it was around the year 1800, but I'm not exactly certain. And he was just an aristocratic kind of guy, having adventures, traveling far away from England. And of course, I think he's actually Scottish. I apologize. Sorry, Scotland. Also, he was here just he decided that Spain was a great place, which I agree with fully. He wrote this poem about how basically Spanish women are more attractive and more passionate than English women. The poem is pretty stupid. I don't know. Sorry, Lord Byron, if you're watching this. I think you're kind of overrated. But it is an interesting historical document. Not very much has changed as far as that goes. Lots of people still think that Spanish women are more attractive and more passionate than English women. Maybe there's a good reason why. Also, the thing that I knew about this city was about the Constitution of Cádiz from 1812. I still am not an expert in the Constitution of Cádiz during 1812, but apparently what happened is that the Napoleon put his brother, Joseph Bonaparte, as king of Spain, the original king, whoever was king before, just kind of said, okay, whatever. No problem, Joseph Bonaparte, and they formed kind of a government in exile here in Cádiz, which created this constitution. This was also related to the War of 1812 in the US and the War of 1812 here in Spain. I talked about it in one of my videos a couple of days ago, the uprising in Madrid, May 2nd, 1812. And yeah, this was kind of the seat of the Spanish government for just a couple of years during this war for independence that they would say here in Spain against the French Empire. And the Constitution of Cádiz was was very liberal at the time. It had things like, universal male suffrage, which was a pretty liberal idea in 1812. And it never actually went into effect, but it's kind of one of these historical moments in Spain that you always hear about in any sort of history lesson. So yeah, there we go. Lord Byron and the Constitution of Cádiz. That's the extent of my knowledge. I'll tell you a little bit more in a minute. And I think we're finding out that that can be very true. It's a small peninsula here, and it's, I guess, the Atlantic rather than the Mediterranean. But, yeah, wow, it's pretty windy. Okay, so we're here outside the cathedral. This cathedral is a little bit unusual. I think it's because it's newer than other cathedrals here in Spain. This is from the 18th and 19th centuries. It took more than 100 years to build the cathedral, but I guess that's kind of normal with cathedrals. And according to Wikipedia, it has some of the greatest religious treasures of any cathedral in Spain. I assume that means like statues of virgins and possibly relics from different saints, things like that. In any case, it costs €5 to go in, and I don't really want to spend the day in a dark cathedral when it's so nice and sunny outside. I want to see if I can go find a beach or something like that. The other interesting thing about this cathedral is that on the other side, right back here, it's just the ocean. It's the water. Not the beach, but, you know, the ocean. So I've never really seen a cathedral that's this close, just right on the edge of the ocean. But hey, why not? It is the Cathedral of Santa Cruz sobre las Aguas, I believe it's called, like officially. Generally just called the Cathedral of Cádiz. But yeah, it's cool. You just walk back here and you've got the kind of original, probably not the original, but the city wall, which is a little bit fortified in different places. And yeah, it's just right on the other side, on the back side of this cathedral. So we're going to walk on, see some of the center over here. So one of the cool things about Cádiz is that it's all these small streets, You're just kind of walking around on these small streets. Most of them are pedestrian, or, you know, as a maximum you've got little motorcycles or something like that, and then you have no idea where you are, but suddenly you come out into some big plaza, and the plazas are pretty nice. In any case, if I had to describe Cádiz in a couple of words, one of them would probably be dilapidated. It reminds me of Lisbon, for example. It's a city where they don't maintain the buildings as much as some others, and you know, you just have this kind of decaying look to it in some places. Not everywhere, but in some places. Anyway, it's part of the charm of Lisbon, and it's part of the charm of Cádiz also. You just have some things that need a little bit more paint, but they're not getting it, as you can see. Anyway, I'm gonna take a look at the city hall now. So we'll see you there in a minute. Okay, so this is City Hall. This is one of these big plazas I was talking about earlier, where you're on the small streets and then suddenly you're on the big plaza. You've got, you know, some bars around here. You've got a little market of some kind. It looks like artisan stuff that people are selling here, and it's pretty nice. And of course the ocean is right over here, because from the cathedral to here is just a very short distance, but since it's just a small peninsula, you've got ocean on all sides. Anyway, I'm not really sure what else there is to see around Cádiz. There are a few big museums. Well, there's at least one big museum, the Museum of Cádiz. There's the big theater of Manuel de Falla, who was one of the important Spanish composers. And then there's just these old neighborhoods, which I guess is what I'm going to take a look at next, because I think I can walk through some of these old neighborhoods on the way to Playa de las Victorias, which they say is the best urban beach in Europe. We'll see. Okay, so while we're on the way to the beach, there's a couple more things I wanted to talk about. One is Hercules. According to one of the Greek myths, at least, Hercules founded the city of Cádiz. And the origin of the myth of the Pillars of Hercules is here in Cádiz. Of course, when I heard the Pillars of Hercules for the first time, I heard it referring to the Rock of Gibraltar, which is not terribly close to here. I mean, it's close. It's a couple hours away, I guess, by train or whatever. The Pillars of Hercules are actually on the Spanish royal coat of arms. It's an important thing in Spanish, legend or whatever. And the idea being that the Pillars of Hercules were were on both sides of the Straits of Gibraltar. And the idea was you did not go further. They had the slogan, ne plus ultra on them, which when the Spanish discovered the New World in 1492, Carlos V, one of the most important Spanish kings, put his official slogan plus ultra, meaning go further beyond. Ne plus ultra was no further beyond. Do not go any further. Plus ultra, further beyond. Always go further. So, that's one thing about the Pillars of Hercules. They also say that the Pillars of Hercules might be the two bars on the dollar sign. Actually, the Spanish doubloons, I believe it was, had sort of a symbol on one side of them. If I have the story correct. I'm not a historian again, and there is debate about this, but the Spanish doubloons or something similar had the two Pillars of Hercules and then a flag going around them, and that could be the origin of the US dollar sign. In any case, nobody really knows what the origin of the US dollar sign is. That's just one theory that I've seen in lots of places. Other than that, the Hercules thing, since Hercules was the son of Zeus and not a real person, I guess it doesn't really matter since it's all just legend. Anyway, I checked on Wikipedia. There is no indication on Wikipedia that Hercules was a real person. So, whatever. Anyway, his 10th labor was apparently out here in Cádiz, in legend. Other than that, it's interesting that there's also the Camino de Santiago here. The St. James, the Way of St. James, is here. Apparently, you could come all the way from the Canary Islands by boat, and then you could walk from here all the way to Santiago in the north of Spain. This is a religious pilgrimage that a lot of people do. Most people do it in the north of Spain, along the French, from the French border along the north coast, but I guess you can do it from any other point. So there's these yellow arrows all over the city that indicate the route. Anyway, it's beach time. See you in a minute. Okay, so I made it to the beach. Playa de las Victorias, I guess. I don't know. It's a little bit windy still. It's a nice sunny day. There are not very many people, but I don't want to show too much because there's topless girls everywhere and I don't want YouTube to ban me. Ooh, there's one. Yes, that would be vulgar. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you find some time at some point to come to Cádiz and enjoy some pescadito frito or something similar. And not much else. Subscribe to my channel. I do videos about Madrid, I do videos about English, I do lots of videos about lots of stuff. And have a great day. Until next time, I'm Daniel. I'm out. Talk to you soon.